All right, YouTube, the legacy media is worried that Trump is going to start a new Cold War. In fact, that he already has by declaring the possibility of an arms race involving nuclear weapons. They're worried about a Cold War. I think they beat him to it by some months because they've spent the entire latter half of the presidential campaign and even thereafter for weeks. All they talked about was how bad Russia was, how bad Putin was, how terrible it was that Trump didn't want to hardball the Russians and might actually get along with Vladimir Putin. Of all horrors in the world, oh, we work with the Russians, get along with Russia, trade with the Russians. Oh no, we can't do that. Wouldn't that lead to a Cold War? You keep putting pressure on this only other major nuclear state in the world that's not already our ally. The UK and France, I don't think we have to worry about them randomly pressing the little red button and annihilating New York City. Mainly, we're worried about Russia, China, and maybe, possibly, a rogue North Korea should it ever develop more sophisticated systems. It's not clear it has the resources to do so. Even the Chinese are freezing them out at this point. I would think if the American so-called left, by which I mean the corporate neoliberals, you got to realize the liberal media gets money from banks and corporations. It's not getting it from a bunch of hippies. It's not getting it from a bunch of granola crunchers who just want to smoke weed and be like kind of left-wing survivalists and have totemic prayer meetings or something like that and sing Kumbaya and jump around a bonfire. Those aren't the people primarily funding the corporate media apparatus. Nor is it the little people, clicking on their ads on CNN or wherever. Most people don't do that anymore anyway if they have any sense. So primarily, they're getting their backing from the same groups that also back the Democratic Party at large. Now, I look at the Democratic Party and I can see some supposedly liberal causes. There are some token Democrats that they don't talk about anything but wanting disarmament, like maybe Barbara Box or Dianne Feinstein, mostly Californians, honestly. You look at a lot of them, they're like high tax liberals, but they're not like total far left hippie trippy individuals. Even Bernie Sanders is more of a hawk than a dove these days anyway. It's really it's odd to see him become a total sellout, and I realized long ago he was a partial sellout. I didn't expect him to corrupt himself that easily when Hillary Clinton offered him money for his endorsement, which, let's face it, she did. But if these people are really that worried about a Cold War, I would think that modernizing our nuclear weapons, or something along those lines, or building up a better anti-missile system, anti-air systems, whatever it happens to be, I'd think that would be a good idea. What's the alternative? Oh, yeah, we sit back. We're not going to develop any new technology. We're going to sit back while Russia rearms more of its missiles, in violation, by the way, of several treaties, brings more of them online, modernizes its largest and most deadly missiles, the Satan missiles, has completely begun overhauling those, while China develops hypersonic missiles, while both of them have expressed openly an interest in anti-satellite technology that could, in theory, it could completely destroy our economy relatively easily. You've got this going on in China and Russia. And the response of the left is, we don't actually need to invest in new weaponry or new countermeasures. We just need to hardball them economically, put more stress on them, and by the way, by virtue of that, make it even more imperative that they will continue to develop newer and better weapon systems whenever they're capable of doing so, slowly supplanting us in technology. That appears to be the response, favored by the Democratic Party and the media right now. I think that's a fucking stupid idea. We should be doing the exact opposite. We should be trying to do, oddly enough, what Trump is trying to do, especially with regards to Russia. China's a little bit different. Work with the Russians. Don't perturb the Russians for no reason. Leave Russia alone largely. Try to have relations with Russia, not sexual relations, not Bill Clinton-style relations, It'd be funny to see who would be the master and who would be the servant in that orgy, so to speak. But at the same time, we do need to work on new weapons. A lot of this technology we're using under Obama, we're talking about developing a new kind of nuclear bomb that's dropped out of a primitive 50s era, bomber. What fucking good is that? What purpose does it ultimately serve? These other countries, they're working on bigger and faster and more capable missiles. They're talking about developing technology. Russia is now openly proclaiming that it wants to develop a counter strategy to anti-missile and anti-air systems, literally to our defensive systems. Now, this is not the end of the world, literally speaking. There hasn't been a nuclear war yet. And if there is a nuclear war, it doesn't matter if you intercept all the missiles. You're still getting blanketed in radiation. You're still going to be suffering, even if you have completely effective countermeasures for all those missiles and planes and subs and so forth. You're still going to take a few hits. You're still going to be bathed in leukemia-causing agents. It's still going to be a sucky time for the whole northern hemisphere especially, and for the world at large to some degree. But what's the alternative? Sit back and do nothing? We started playing this game in the 1940s, and at a much accelerated pace by the early 1950s. The grand chessboard will not go away. Mutually assured destruction will not go away. There will never come a time at which all nuclear states unilaterally say, you know what, we're giving this crap up. We're just going to get rid of the nuclear weapons. It's not going to happen. The only way those nuclear weapons go away is if they get fired. That's the ultimate truth. Or if something else comes along that's even worse, even more brutally effective, that displaces them altogether, that actually renders them useless. Something that you would think of, maybe some satellite-based weapon system that can pinpoint and destroy nuclear missiles the second that they're ready on their launch pad before they even get a chance to fire. And the U.S. would be the first one, trust me, to develop such technology. Again, with other countries routinely violating treaties, what's the purpose? What's the purpose of holding ourselves back if we can't even trust that other people are going to do the same? They're not. The Russians have no interest in destroying any more missiles than they already have. They look around the world. They see India and Pakistan, since those treaties, have developed nuclear weapons. North Korea is still rogue and basically a vassal of China. The Chinese may or may not have fully declared what they have in their arsenal. They see the United States continues to develop not nuclear technology in the offensive sense, but certainly countermeasures against other people's nuclear capabilities in the form of energy weapons and railguns and next-generation fighters and all sorts of cool anti-missile systems and Iron Man suits and all of these great things that, yeah, great for military use, I would agree. But at the same time, it must be making them nervous that the U.S. is doing this at the same time that we're slapping them in the cock with embargoes. I would think that the opposite response ultimately would be better for the world. The U.S. and Russia should try to work together. There are other nuclear states in the world now that are a bigger concern. North Korea has atomic weapons. North Korea also really doesn't care who it nukes. If they do develop long-range capabilities 10, 20, 30 years down the road, I think it'll be a long time coming, it might take the combined effort of multiple states to suppress their capability to actually use those weapons, lest Seoul or Tokyo or Moscow or Beijing end up nuked. What about China? I would like to think that it would be better for the world if the US and Russia, which are the two largest nuclear powers, were to work together completely. We should be allies. We've been allies before. What the fuck does it matter if they were communists decades ago? Obama himself, great perturber-in-chief, embargoer-in-chief himself with regards to Russia, comes out and says they're not an enemy anymore, they're just a competitor. Well then, why are you constantly fucking around with them? I would think it doesn't serve the greater good. I also choose to believe that if the United States public were not constantly bathed for months and months in Putin this, Putin that, Putin is a horrible man, most Americans wouldn't want to perturb the Russians. I see a big disconnect between the sort of people that pay attention only to the legacy media and thus think Putin is Satan, and those who pay attention to underground media and comprehend the fact that, yes, he's a tin horn. Yeah, he's a really, really rich billionaire oligarch who gets rich off of corruption. But he's not a madman. He's a sane actor in the world. A little bit odd? Yeah, certainly. He never seems to smile, unless it's in a creepy manner. He has some difficulties with human emotion, like former KGB. But is he insane? No, he's not insane. He's not going to randomly press the little red button. The biggest risk to us getting wiped off the face of the earth is if we sit back, stop playing old grand chessboard game, let everybody else develop better technology while pretending to be our friend. We don't develop anything, and all of a sudden they say, oh, well, we win. You can't stop us now because you don't have effective countermeasures. That's crazy. Especially if you're doing that, as we have for, more than half a decade now, while at the same time perturbing those other nuclear states. Now, as for China, yes, we should suppress the Chinese. They've become a greater and greater threat to our allies within the region. Russia, on the other hand, appears to have calmed down a bit, and appears to be willing to work with the West. Well, then let's work with them. China's not. China's still ramming Vietnamese fishing vessels out of what it calls its water, while building essentially island aircraft carriers after a fake sense. That's what China's doing right now. They're still trying to expand into the Americas. Their Nicaragua Canal, I predicted quite some time ago wouldn't happen. It's basically stalled out. I don't even know if they have the money to finish it at this point. And how the hell are they going to compete with the Panama Canal that we're more than doubling in size as we speak as well? It's not entirely clear that the plan was a good investment, but then again, the Chinese are known for investing in shitty things through central planning, because they're communists. After a sense. They have a communist party. They're more communistic than Obama, let's put it that way. Now, it's if you're worried about a Cold War, the rhetoric coming from our media and from the Democratic Party is going to further it a lot more than the idea of modernizing our nuclear capabilities. Did people call it a Cold War when Russia started rearming some of its missiles? No, you barely heard a peep about it. Said, oh, it's just, the Cold War's over. It's not the USSR. They're not under the control of communism. What do we really have to worry about? Maybe they'll be our friend. Maybe we'll share technology or something. They were optimistic until Trump ran, until Trump said, oh, maybe Putin is not the devil incarnate. And all of a sudden they went crazy. You can't work with the Russians, but at the same time you're a fool who's going to start another Cold War. You see how insane this is? How easily people are being lied to by the legacy media? They actually believe this. They believe two roughly contradictory lines of reasoning. Trump is too close with Putin, too friendly with him, too willing to work with him. Oh, that's a problem because Russia bad, Russia evil. But at the same time, he's also going to start a nuclear conflict by proclaiming that we should modernize our weapons because we're the world's military hegemon. Are you nuts? That's how a nut would think. That's exactly the worst thing we could possibly be doing. We should modernize those weapons. We should modernize our countermeasures against others' weapons. And we should, by the way, attempt to work with the Russians. If we get into a nuclear conflict, I'll tell you this now, with Russia, there won't be a whole lot of survivors in the US or Russia. China becomes the world power. If we get into a nuclear conflict with China, they get destroyed, we survive, we remain the hegemon. It's as simple as that. And the worst possible thing the US could do is to piss off the Russians and keep driving them further into this BRICS crap so that they end up partnered with China and India. With how much collective manpower do they have? How many extra nuclear weapons on top of the 1,700 or so Russia already has armed does that make? Over 2,000. Well, see, that's a problem. That's a lot more than we have. We've got about 1,200 online right now. You would have a missile gap. Now, wouldn't that be scary? I would think it would be better to try to crush out Chinese imperialism. I don't have a problem with the Chinese people, but we can't let them expand, everywhere in the world. Otherwise, things are going to be problematic. Not even for our purposes. It's really going to screw all the other Asian countries, including maybe India, which it'd be interesting to see them try to quarrel around within BRICS. Do we really want to see all of these countries form some sort of second Warsaw Pact against us? So then you'd be back in a Cold War, and that's what's going to happen if we keep perturbing the Russians for no reason, blaming them for all of the problems of the Democratic Party. Then that's what will happen. You will have a true Cold War. We're basically still in the Cold War. We have to realize that. But there are steps that we can take to at least stave off nuclear madness for the time being. There will eventually be a nuclear war, I do admit that. It's just a matter of who is involved. If Russia's involved, bye-bye, most of you are dead. 99% of the people that'll watch this video will die within a month. 99% of you will be gone, along with 99% of everyone in Russia. If we get into it with China, most of you will survive. It may be inevitable, but at the very least, we can pick and choose what form that eventual nuclear conflict will take. If we're on the same side as Russia when it happens, if they're our ally, we'll both survive. We'll be fine. Sure, there will be people killed with nuclear strikes. There will be leukemia. There will be all sorts of problems. People will have goiters, be walking around looking like mutants. But ultimately, culture will survive, mankind will prevail. And you probably wouldn't have a nuclear winter either. Not enough weapons would have to be deployed to cause it. If, however, we get into it with the only other major nuclear state, there's no guarantee mankind at all survives. So many nuclear plants damaged by the blasts or by, clouds of radiation, or because they can't be maintained because all the scientists are dead or fucked up or hiding in a bunker somewhere. You're going to have so much radiation in the world that most people around that time will wish they had never been born, even if they were far away from a nuclear strike. They'll wish they were never existing in the first place. So I suggest that we do softball Russia, regardless of our quibbles with them over gay rights or imperialism or media. It doesn't really matter. We should be trying to work with them, but we should modernize our nuclear weapons. Otherwise, we're the ones that get fucked. It'll be us getting wiped out, nobody else. We'll get stomped. We'll get steamrolled. I don't think that would be a very fun. Yeah. I think people would very quickly realize that it's not so good a world when your hegemon has just been destroyed because everything falls into chaos. I think they would learn the hard way what people who disliked Rome so much maybe learned when the western half of the Roman Empire collapsed. Yeah, wonderful times those were. They called them the Dark Ages for a reason. That's about all. Peace out.